You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast. Starring Pete Ruggieri, Larry Maris, and Jason Lewis. This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. So sit back and enjoy some Masonic conversation without pretension. And now, here's your hosts, Pete, Larry, and Jason.
Welcome, everybody, to the Masonic Light Podcast. I'm Jack Harley, sitting in this episode for Pete Ruggieri, who is floating around somewhere halfway between a hot tub and the bar on a cruise ship destined to nowhere. So, sitting here with Jason Lewis.
How you doing?
And Larry Maris.
Hello there.
And our guest for this episode is Ron Schwartz.
Hello.
So we're just going to kind of jump in because Pete's not here to make smarmy comments. So
that's what we expect you to do, Jack.
All right, Larry, you want to jump in and get us started here?
Yeah, usually what we do at this point in time is we talk about the Masonic week that was. And I'll start off, and basically, if you were at meetings, if you were involved in some way or other in Masonic functions, let's talk about it. I'll start off by bringing up the fact that we had last Thursday and the Thursday before that, the Goose and Gridiron breakfast. And actually, we're having some problems with the Goose and Gridiron. The fact that we're growing and the space that we have at this one particular restaurant is getting smaller.
Hear that, Masonic world? There's a body that's growing.
It's a body that's growing.
Look at that.
Unfortunately, though, it's growing because half of them are 80 years old. So it's a short growth.
And their girth is growing, and that's
Exactly.
why we have breakfast. So.
Yeah,
Exactly.
my Masonic body is definitely growing.
Anyway, that's where we are. I didn't get the chance to go to Grotto. So, Jason, I'll hand it off to you.
We had our grotto meeting. It was a little lately attended. Pete was on a cruise, of course, stuck in a current somewhere. And it was a good grotto. But it was right on the heels of Autumn Days, which is the open house for Masonic villages that every Masonic body was represented there. And I feel like that might have had something to do with our low attendance. And it was also our first one back.
There was also a big event at Elizabethtown. There was a
Legion of Honor.
Legion of Honor. The DeMolay was awarding the Legion of Honor
Right.
ceremony, and it was a packed house.
I think 220 people.
Yeah, it was. It's a beautiful ceremony if you've never seen it. And for you Masons out there, find your local DeMolay chapter. Those kids do amazing work. Go and visit them, as well as the girls. But the Legion of Honor ceremony is really something to see.
And it's basically their version of, it's the highest honor. So it's like the DeMolay 33rd, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think they confer it on non-DeMolay. They confer it on Masons.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Did you go?
I did not.
I did not either.
I was all ready to go, and something came up at the house, and I just could not make it.
Masonically, I think only other thing I did was Goose and Gridiron, which we already discussed. Yeah, we're getting big. How about you, Ron? What did you do Masonically in the last couple of weeks?
Oh, nothing very exciting. I went to the regular meeting, and then we had a extra meeting that I went to where we had 2 first degrees. So that was kind of nice. I try to get to as many of those extra meetings as I can. I enjoy those. I actually enjoy those more than the regular meetings sometimes.
Yeah, 43 had our stated. Well, I think we all had our stated since then. You had your stated.
We have ours on second Tuesday.
Right. And we had an extra meeting. We did a fellow craft and an apprentice. And then we had rehearsal for School of Instruction. Yeah, that's right. I went to School of Instruction. Forgot about that. And 43 voted on their bylaws, which was pretty fun.
Ooh.
Not really.
Dues increase?
No. 3 years in a row now.
Holding the line. Nice.
Grand Lodge has gone up $2, and we have decided to continue to eat that for now.
Very good.
Yeah.
That can cause some turmoil on the sidelines.
I mean, we're going to have to do it at some point, so I think the thought is do it, a $5 increment.
Rip the Band-Aid off?
Down the road
okay.
when it's really needed. Yep.
Got it.
That's all I have.
So my Masonic week, or month, really, we had our stated meeting second Tuesday. We had a first degree on the Thursday after, and then last week, we had 2 second degrees, and I conferred I conferred the long second, and that gets me all my qualifications for the Master Pillar Award. I've got 2 little things I need to tidy up there, including I have to go to a Grand Lodge quarterly, so I won't be able to do that till December. But after that, I should be able to turn in the paperwork and get that done. But along after Grotto, last night I had a fantastic mentoring session with 2 guys that got their fellagraphs, and I'll tell you, I just love that. Going in there and just talking about what all that stuff means and what they sat through, and because when you're kneeling there, it's coming at you like a fire hose, and it takes a little bit of thinking about it to really understand what it was you got through. So I love doing that.
Well, speaking about mentoring, we're kind of queuing up for our guest here. I guess we should mention that if we sound a little bit different, we are in a different room today, and we are recording live from the Four Seasons Golf Resort. And there's a Tall Cedars meeting about to start. And a recurring theme on Masonic Light Podcast is chicken pot pie. So we're all gearing up to go eat some chicken pot pie when we're done here.
You're kidding me, right?
No, it's chicken pot pie. Why do you think we're here instead of at Pete's house? We had the keys to Pete's.
They're not going to turn down chicken pot pie, dude. Come on.
It was either free booze at Pete's or chicken pot pie that we have to pay for, and chicken pot pie won.
Just goes to show you where our priorities are.
Yeah.
You're lucky there's no scrapple. Come on.
Do you guys have anything else, or should we head into break?
Yeah, let's head into the break. I got to go to the bathroom.
All right, Larry's got to go pee. All right, this is Jason Lewis from the Masonic Light Podcast, live at the Autumn Days at the Elizabethtown Masonic Villages. Now George is next to me. He's shaking his head no. But next to me is the current worshipful master of Lamberton Lodge No.
226.
And what's your name?
Abe Schaffner.
Abe Schaffner. Now, you were just on a field trip with the Ubar Monarch and our co-host Pete Ruggieri, right?
I guess.
Weird Al?
Yes.
So tell us about Weird Al.
It was interesting. I didn't know what to expect, but it was a good show.
Did Pete behave himself?
He did.
Nothing wild?
No, nothing wild. Just some booze.
What was the coolest thing that you saw at the show?
I don't know. I'd have to say probably the Amish Paradise.
Did all the local Amish people go crazy for that song?
Yes, sir.
All right. That was Abe. Thank you so much for your little shout out.
All right, and we're back. And Larry can have a seat now. Tuck that back in, Larry, and we'll get back to work. So I think we're going to just, where are we going now? Are we going to jump right in with our guest?
Yeah, we're going to jump right in with our guest.
All right.
First, let me introduce him to you. Ron Schwartz is our guest tonight. He's associate professor at Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. And he heads up the machine tool and computer-aided manufacturing department. Ron is one of those rare individuals that has a Bachelor of Arts degree and a technical degree from Stevens, something that I personally see as a growing trend in education today. Nothing like graduating from college with a degree and not being able to get a job. This is a way to circumvent that, and I think it's an intelligent way to do things. Ron became a Master Mason in 2014 and has been active in the lodge since his raising. Currently, he serves as chairman of the Fellowship Committee and chairman of the Almoner Fund at Lamberton Lodge, soon to be a Tall Cedar. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yes, great. It's good to have you here. We wanted to get you in here before, but we didn't get an opportunity to do that. Recently, the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania began to emphasize the renewal of Almoners funds, even though it has been a part of Masonic history and an integral part of our every lodge's charge. What happened that suddenly this becomes a hot issue, not only for the Grand Lodge, but for Scottish Rite as well?
Well, I can't really answer that question. I'm not sure what conversations led up to that decision. I know it appeared in the Grand Lodge the quarterly, and that's what got my attention. And I talked to the worshipful master about it. I think it's an excellent idea. That's why I'm doing and step forward to take charge of it. But I'm not really sure where Grand Lodge was coming from when they made the decision. I have some theories. I don't know if they're accurate.
Oh, we're all about speculation here.
Yeah. Don't hold back.
Speculate away.
Well, for me, being a Mason, I really like to entertain the idea of being builders, and I think that we should play a more integral part in society. We are the foundation. And I see the Almoners Fund, I'm kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but more than just an opportunity to help brothers in need, but also, for lack of a better term, but a marketing tool. It's a way for us to show people that are not part of the craft how we care for one another. And I think in today's society, and I know you and I have had this conversation, I spoke about this at Lodge, I think there's a need in society for people. People are lacking a sense of belonging in general, in my opinion. And I think the Masons can fill that void. And I see the Almoners Fund as a way of showing that. So that's how I'm kind of approaching it. I think once we get it on its feet, which it's not right now, I would like to use it as a marketing tool. That's something that we can wave in the air and brag to people about.
It was a little unclear when it was introduced, when Grandmaster Bateman took the chair, that how is this going to be implemented? How is it going to be funded? What is it? He was clear about what he wanted it to do, but some of the lodges were confused about how to implement it. Has your lodge kind of figured out how that's going to work?
Before you answer that, maybe for our listeners that aren't Pennsylvania Masons, it was Dietz, I think, right?
Was it Dietz?
It was Dietz, yeah, because that was his incoming.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
His incoming initiative. But the Almoners Fund in Pennsylvania, all of our Pennsylvania lodges have permanent and reserve savings and investments and charity funds, and then other lodges are fortunate enough to have almost like a working charity savings. So, like my lodge, we have an extra savings that account that we can use for charity work, but that can be internal charity work, can be external charity work, and there's a whole bunch of hoops that we have to jump through to get it approved. And the Almoners Fund was made to specifically be used towards charity with our brothers, not to pay their dues, but to help them out in times of need, whether they lose their job or they have some medical issues. So just a little clarity on what our Almoners Fund is, and there are other funds out there that we can use for internal and external, but the Almoners is internal only.
I do know that most lodges in Pennsylvania, as you've said, and actually throughout a whole lot of jurisdictions, have a budget line item for that. My biggest issue was I don't remember us using it that much at all. And have we really used it? I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, and Jack's question was, is your lodge sorted out?
Have you worked through how to really fund it and get? Most of
it's
the
a work in
lodges
progress.
Yeah.
Honestly, when we first took the task on, we weren't really sure how to allocate funds. We have our charity fund, and we weren't sure how we were supposed to do that. And then I think there was some confusing signals or information sent from Grand Lodge, indicating or dictating how we were supposed to open accounts and so forth. And there was some confusion there. I spoke to the worshipful master recently and past worshipful master Ron Carson, and I think it would be a good idea if we create some kind of get together for all the local almoners from the various lodges, and try to brainstorm ideas and at least, kind of a best practice kind of thing. See, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? How are you handling this? Because right now it feels like it's just kind of spinning around in circles, and we're trying to find direction. I think it'll gain traction. We're not there yet. I'm firmly behind it, but as a lodge and myself personally, we're not really sure how to proceed with it. So that's where we're at.
Well, I think it has a couple of opportunities presented with this Almoners Fund. One is that you got to fund it somehow, right? Which means the guys got to get together and do stuff to raise money.
Right.
So that's not a bad thing. because, you make friendships by sharing experience. And these are, in some ways, an opportunity to have shared experience, golf outings or whatever, and that kind of stuff. And the other thing, like you say, is really being charitable. We talk a lot about charity,
Right.
But there's more to it than just writing a check.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, soon after we started it, I put together what I referred to as the Almoners dinner. And it was intended to be a fundraiser. It ended up being a very nice event for those that attended. The problem we had was we didn't have the attendance we needed to actually make any money. So we were there.
Shocking.
Heard that before.
The food was excellent. There were drinks on hand.
Oh, political jokes are just flying around my head right now.
Yeah,
I won't.
we just couldn't get the attendance that we needed, and I was frustrated by that actually, which would probably be the topic of another show. The number or the percentage of participation among members in the Blue Lodge activities. I think that's something that needs to be discussed.
But you get really close to those 12 guys that do everything.
Right. Maybe 12, maybe 10. Right.
Did you, when you were appointed the chairman for the committee, did you have any expectations? Better yet, did the lodge share any expectations with you?
The lodge initially did not share any expectations. I think they were just really excited that I said that I would do it. They're like, because I brought it up.
You're making eye contact again. You got to stop that stuff.
I brought it up, and so I kind of I felt compelled to actually take it on since I felt responsible for bringing it up. There was no one ever communicated anything to me, and the Almoners dinner, I just kind of forged ahead with that on my own. And looking back, I think maybe that's why the participation wasn't quite as large as we wanted. I really would like to do it again this year, I think, because the people that did attend really enjoyed themselves. And I think word will spread that, this was a nice time, and maybe this year we'll get more attendance.
I feel like those things are going to take some time. Your lodge, my lodge, and I would assume that a number of the lodges, at least in our area, do have a charity account. And, in 43, we were lucky enough to convert some of our charity into the Almoners Fund. And, I think that some of our lodges do raise some money, whether it's around dues time and there's, additional lines in your dues notice if you want to donate to the charity fund or whatever. And this is brand new for a handful of our brothers. And I also think that the fundraising aspect is not very common, at least in our area, in Blue Lodge. It is in other bodies that we're in, but we're not very used to doing fundraising. And I've been saying in my lodge for the last couple of months, we should really get ready to do some fundraising because we're lucky enough to occasionally get a bequeathment. We're lucky enough to sometimes get a nice donation, through dues. But, it's kind of like the trust fund kid who doesn't have a summer job. And maybe we need to get back into the Blue Lodge fundraising efforts. But it's going to take some time. Do you have any other questions, Larry? We're getting close to another potty break.
I think we need to. Well, no, I don't need to potty break, but I need to go in the corner and have a nervous breakdown.
Go sell some stuff, Larry.
Okay.
How about that?
And we'll be back.
Hey there, listeners. This is Pete, and I wanted to tell you about MasonicScarves.com. Masonic Scarves offers full-color, knitted soccer-style scarves, perfect for you to wear to lodge, out casually, or even to display in your home. I currently have in our lineup pretty much every Masonic body from Blue Lodge, York Rite, Scottish Rite, Grotto, Shrine. If you think about it, I probably have it. Are you a turtle? Well, you bet your sweet ass I have a scarf for that. So you can easily order online with a credit card, and I'll generally have your scarf in the mail the next business day. Do you need an easy fundraiser for your lodge or organization? I can have a custom scarf design delivered to you in about 4 weeks, as long as you order a minimum of 50 pieces. I can help you with the artwork, and you'll have an original item that you can sell or hand out as a gift for visitors or past masters. Visit MasonicScarves.com or drop me an email at info@MasonicScarves, and I'll be glad to help you.
Oh, we're going to have to sell the outtakes from this show.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. My next question to you, Ron, is one of the things I see here, it seems that our efforts in our lodge and other lodges, from what I'm understanding, seem to be aimed at raising money. My question is the Almoners Fund more than money? What else could be involved in it?
Well, and Ron, that's kind of the story that I was telling during the break. You guys didn't hear this, but a couple of months ago, we live, of course, regular listeners know we live in Amish country out here, and there was a barn fire, and a guy lost his whole dairy barn and a couple of outbuildings, and he was just his farm was just completely wiped out. And as is typical in this area, within 48 hours, there were 100 Amishmen on his farm with lumber and nails and hammers. And within the end of that, I think it was 3 or 4 days, he had a brand new dairy barn built and done, right? And I looked at that and I said, man, that's a fraternity. That's a brotherhood, right? That's people that are ready to step out and put their feet on the street to help a brother. And that's kind of what I think is missing from that whole, charitable thing that we're supposed to be doing. I don't think we exercise that well enough.
No, I would agree. As a relatively new member of the craft, 2 years, a little over 2 years, that's what I perceive. And so I came in thinking, okay, this is the brotherhood and we take care of one another, and no one can compete with the Masons when it comes to charity, when you include all of the organizations, of which I'm not a part yet. Like, I'm joining Tall Cedar, so I'm not seeing all of that. I'm seeing Blue Lodge. And at Blue Lodge, like we had mentioned during break as well, we're not seeing a lot of fundraising within that. So, yeah, I think that's where we need to be. I mean, maybe not at the level and efficiency as the Amish.
I know they're pretty good at that stuff.
But in the same spirit. I mean, that's that kind of thing where you stand behind one another, I think, is important. And I think that's something that will help Masons move into the future.
So here's something you can debate amongst yourselves at home. I struggled with that when I was a new Mason. There was an issue. Somebody was, one of the scout troops was asking for money or something. Oh, no, we can't give scouts money. And I was informed that the Blue Lodge itself is not by its charter a charitable organization. It's an organization that teaches its members to be charitable, which is a really subtle distinction, but very important. And it kind of clarified some of that for me. Now, you get into the Shrine and Tall Cedars and all the appendant bodies. All the appendant bodies have a charity that they support. Blue Lodge doesn't, and that's where it comes to we should be supporting each other.
Right.
And I think that's kind of
and I'm learning that.
Yeah.
And that's when we're talking about the Almoners Fund, I think it's really important to remember that that's the structure, the existing structure. So I think people that have been in Lodge for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years, that's what they're accustomed to. So then when Blue Lodge is saying, hey, we want to raise money for another charity in Blue Lodge, it's something new, and it's something that's going to have to change. And I think it will, but anything that's new, especially apparently I'm learning anything new among the Masons, it takes a while for that.
What? No.
So just a little observation I've made.
About as fast as a herd of turtles.
Hey, some of those turtles are pretty fast.
True.
This is a very serious conversation here. And quite honestly, I need to go find beer.
I know Pete's going to yell at us for being so serious. Sorry, Pete. Do we need to take another break already?
Go back to the bar, Pete.
No. A couple other questions for Ron.
Oh, we said beer. I got excited.
Yeah, well, I thought, no. Actually, give me a couple minutes here yet. Who would be the beneficiary of funds? Just Masons, just brothers?
My understanding is it's brothers of the lodge and their families.
Yes.
Would be their spouse and dependent children. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Even after death.
Even after death.
Yeah, widows
yes.
and...
Right, widows included. So my understanding anyway, the way it works is someone, either individually they could approach me, or someone could give me the name of someone in need, and then that I would take that information to the worshipful master and the secretary, and we would decide what we're going to do, and we would make a proposal at a stated meeting, and that would have to be approved at the stated meeting. It can remain completely anonymous. We do not have to give the name of the person. we can give the name, but only with the permission of the person requesting help. That's how it's supposed to work. We actually are right now, I think you mentioned in the last podcast, one of our brothers is in need.
Yes, absolutely.
We're actually trying to figure out this. We're going to cut our teeth on this one, I think, and we're trying to figure out how to do it because we don't want to do it incorrectly. And personally,
go ahead.
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, I'm not
just throw money out the window.
As a new Mason, I want to try to stay on the rails as long as possible. But
Do you mean the process of using the money?
the process of using money, just the very process of proposing it at lodge and so forth. We just want to make sure we're doing it correctly.
So-
we got to keep it clean for the audit, guys.
Yeah, right. So 43 had an opportunity to use our Almoners fund early on, and it was in between meetings, and we had to move pretty quickly. And we consulted with, now in our lodge, our charity chairman and our Almoners chairman are the same person. And the call came to me as secretary, which I turned over to our charity chairman, and he took it to the district deputy and was approved. That was before they appointed the grand almoner. So now that we have a grand almoner who happens to be in our backyard, he needs to be involved in that loop as well. But it's a fairly simple process, and depending on the amount of money, I mean, there's a certain threshold that if it's under, then I don't think that you need the grand almoner or the district deputy. You just take it to the lodge and make a motion, and away you go. Of course, as anonymous as possible. And if it's over a certain amount, then you need, the grand almoner and the DDGM to that's district deputy grandmaster for you non-Pennsylvanians.
Well, it's those types
Approval.
those types of things, though, I think have to be printed out.
Right.
My understanding is we don't have to go beyond lodge for permission, but we're not sure. I mean,
Right.
even when we
the
brought this
almoner
up-
in my lodge said that you have to go to the district deputy and he has to approve it.
Yeah, and there's-
so they're in two lodges that are 12 miles apart. We have two different understandings of what
Right,
the rules
right.
are.
And
So
that's
hopefully get cleared up.
Right. To rewind a little bit, when I said we want to make sure we do it correctly, nobody's really sure what that is.
Right.
We talked about it quite extensively after our last lodge meeting.
So you first.
Yeah.
I think
Pave the way for the rest of us.
I think
okay. So-
the spirit of the Almoners
That's what he
fund,
did.
I don't think that the district deputy is going to. I mean, we did a pretty chunky donation, if you will, to help, and district deputy was right on board. So, I mean, I think that we looped them in just to make sure there's nothing fraudulent. Not necessarily that's not worthy enough, but I think that if we bring it,
No, I think
to
he
him,
just wants to know what's going on in his
Right.
district, which
Yeah.
is, okay, yeah,
come audit time, yeah.
fine.
In conclusion here, and we're not closing the show down, John W. McNaughton, Sovereign Grand Master of the Northern Jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite, wrote an article in Northern Lights that, and this is a quote, "The tide is certainly turning, not something new, but rather back to our roots." And I think we can all try to answer this question. Do we feel this is happening? Ron, you start first.
Well, again, my opinion is relative to my experience.
Exactly.
But yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. I think that it is taking us back to our roots. From what I know of, historical events and the parts that Masons have played through history, that supporting one another, being a space for free thought, things of that nature, I think this is in the spirit of past Masonry, and I think it's a move in the right direction.
Ron, I'm gonna just throw something out here because it's come
Don't
up
throw
a
it
couple
hard.
of times. It's a softball, but I'm gonna throw it. You, as a master Mason, are entitled to make any motion which you may suppose to be for the advantage or honor of the fraternity. Right? You are as much a master Mason as the 50-year member. So don't discount the fact that you're new, because we need new. Right?
Right.
And you're a great example of that, and keep that up. But you don't need to discount the value of your newness, because I think it brings a lot positive to the lodge.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're not the first person to tell me that. I out of respect, I don't know, just.
No, we respect no one here at Masonic Light.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, it's all.
If you're coming here for that, you're not going to.
But I am quite capable of running into things.
Right,
So
right.
I try to be respectful and play the politician a little bit. I know that's a dirty word.
No,
this
it's
time of
always
year.
good. It's always good.
But in order to get things accomplished, sometimes you have to do that. And I'm fearful of just hammering into things. So,
yeah, I did that about 10 years ago, and I was banished.
Well, now I really am going to stand up, take these headphones off, and I'm going for a beer. Let's take a break.
All right.
What?
And I think we'll be back with the news.
Okay.
Not really.
Ish.
Ish. All right. We'll be back.
Take 20. This is Rodney Horton, Worshipful Master of Harrisburg Snyder Lodge number 629, and you're listening to Masonic Light Podcast.
Good news, everyone!
Masonic Light News. News not fit to print.
And currently in Masonic news, according to the Past Bastard Facebook page, a new hipster lodge has been formed to give millennial Masons an opportunity to express their fraternity in a groovy kind of way. In a related issue, the Lancaster Masonic Center will be welcoming the new Farmers Lodge with chicken pot pie at every meal.
I'm all for that. I'm ready.
Thank God.
Because you just can't get enough chicken pot pie.
Absolutely.
I disagree with that.
Sorry. And we're going to blend in some scrapple breakfasts, but never mind. That's for Pete. So in a completely unrelated story, and this is not ridiculous as much, the UGLE, the United Grand Lodge of England, has issued a set of internet protocols. So for all you social networkers, pay attention to what you're talking about, because UGLE is watching, Pete.
Thankfully, we're not in England.
So but this goes along with the new Star Trek emblem that they came out with. Did you see that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the square in Star Trek.
Oh, that's a terrible looking.
It's beautiful.
logo.
Yeah, let's take a 300-year-old trademark and destroy it. Yeah. I love that. And finally, in Masonic news, and this goes to be a little serious, and I apologize for bringing the tone down a little bit, but we do want to say farewell, my brother, to a very great man and a very good Mason. Brother Arnold Palmer passed away this week at the age of 87. Arnie was an illustrious 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason, and just last year he was awarded the De Molay Legion of Honor. For those kids that were there at that ceremony, to bestow that honor on Arnold Palmer must have been a really very cool ceremony, and that's something that they can carry with them. I know for me personally, and I posted this the other day. Second to my father, I think Arnold Palmer was probably the greatest role model that I had as a young man growing up, because I remember being a rabid Arnie fan as he was a champion, and then up come these young lions, the Nicholas and Johnny Miller and those guys who just revised the game almost to the level that Tiger Woods would do, decades later. And I remember hating those guys because they were supplanting my hero. And I got fixed by Arnie when I saw him congratulate Jack Nicklaus with a really hearty handshake and a big smile. And he knew that it was time for him to step aside and allow the new young lions to take their place. And I just thought that was a very class act. And
he did get back at people, though. He built the damnedest golf courses throughout the United States and the world that would tax any human being's mind.
Yes, he did. And God bless him for that. And that's a legacy that we'll have for a very long time. So we thank you for that, Arnie, and farewell on your journey to the West.
PA Mason, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was
Latrobe.
Latrobe, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, farewell. Anything else in the news, Jack?
I don't have anything. Sorry about that. But,
no, man.
It's
well, you know what?
kind of a boring week.
We'll take a break, and we'll come back in a second and play one of our games with our guest, and we'll bring the spirit back up. Jeez, Debbie Downer.
I'm so sorry.
Hello, this is Scott Coons, Worshipful Master of Mount Olivet Lodge number 704, advising you to listen to the Masonic Light podcast.
This is Dennis O'Connor, the thrice potent master of the Lancaster Lodge of Perfection, and you're listening to the Masonic Light podcast.
And we're back. So you're probably expecting Masonic Would You Rather, but we have decided that we are going to have a number of games, and eventually,
we being Jason has decided.
Yes, Jason has decided. But
Our producer.
I want to loop you guys in. So if you have some ideas about games that we could play, I think what's going to happen in future episodes is we're going to maybe make a wheel or draw out of a hat of what game we are going to play with our guest.
Oh, the voiceovers, I've already got the Wheel of Games. Come on, you got to do it.
Nice. All right, so we're going to play 30 Seconds with Ron. And 30 Seconds with Ron, we're going to put...
This isn't like 7 minutes in heaven, is it?
No,
like,
no.
Okay, all right.
No, I only need never mind.
That's a whole different lodge. Yeah.
That's the man bun lodge.
Yeah.
I'm starting to become concerned here.
All right, so we have 30 seconds. Jack's going to start the timer. We have 30 seconds to get through 10 questions.
Oh my god!
All right, and they're pretty much and or quick answer questions. So we're going to try to get through all 10. And are you ready?
Can I pass any of these?
No. All right, whenever you're ready, Jack.
And start. No, wait. Oh, wait.
No.
Go. No, stop. Wait. Starting. Go.
What is your full name?
Ronald Christopher Schwartz.
What lodge are you from?
Lamberton 476.
What's your favorite degree?
Third.
Chicken pot pie or prime rib?
Prime rib.
Heck yeah.
Who would play you in a movie?
Who would play me in a movie? Oh, that's a good one.
How about Cavill, Superman?
Okay, I'll go with it.
What would be your theme song?
The theme of The Big Lebowski.
Who's your favorite Hoover?
Or Scott.
Oh, I think we're over. Jack, you're supposed to tell me. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding.
And that was 30 Seconds with Ron.
Attaboy.
Yay, good job. We had a couple other in there, but we'll have to save them for next time. That's all I have for fun and games, guys. So
that was beautiful.
I think if you have anything else to wrap up with, Larry.
A couple things. One thing, Ron, for you. A brother from Lamberton who I chatted with today asked me if I would ask you a question.
Oh, God.
And I'm going to mention his name, Brother Larry Hudson, okay? He said something about the fact that he knows you don't know all the secrets of Freemasonry. However, can you tell me how to get some free work done by the men at Thaddeus Stevens? He needs a secret password to do that.
Yeah, an unmarked envelope with, yeah.
That's good.
Bills smaller than 20s.
We didn't even get into the Thaddeus Stevens conversation.
It's a pretty easy process.
Yeah, we didn't. That would have been a good one right
It could
there.
be another show, actually.
Yeah, that's an anti-Mason thing, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, one more thing, too. This is bowling. You're chairman of the fellowship committee. We met one night at a pizza place, and we had a great meeting. And somehow the entire meeting deteriorated around forming a bowling team of Masons. Needless to say, I was horrified at that.
This is a thing. This is like small groups lodge, right? When you get a church that's too big, you break it down into small groups, right?
Yeah, and I resent the term that deteriorated.
Deteriorated.
When we discussed chicken pot pie.
Bowler's lodge. You could have shooter's lodge and,
Well,
but they sat there for 15 minutes trying to come up with a name for this bowling team.
Well, Stone Gutters, I think, kind of won
I
out.
like that. I like that a lot.
See, look, you're laughing already. And it's, yeah,
that could go in a couple directions right there.
Oh, there were more colorful ones. That's
Rolling
that's
Stones.
The Stone Gutter.
Well, anyway, I had to bring that up. We're ready to go into Larry's ramblings, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, wait. Here we go. And any comments you want to make along the way?
No, not yet. Let's go. Let's take one more quick break. so we can listen to one of our lovely ads, and then we'll come back and wrap it up?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
The Red Serpent by Larry Maris. One man's obsession to avenge the death of his wife uncovers a long-hidden, ancient blueprint to perfect the world for future generations. Visit www.larrymaris.com.
All right, and we're back, and I think we're about to call it quits here on episode number 14?
There's something.
Something, I believe so. What do you guys have going on? Let's keep it quick. What do we got going on this upcoming week or two?
I will start by saying that the October 10th broadcast actually will be shared with Jack Aquilina, who is a member of the lodge in Victoria, Australia, and who was one of the founders of the Blue Lounge and their own actually podcast. So we'll be doing a Skype call with him, and he's invited to the show, and we're looking forward to that. Jack is a heck of a guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Ooh, this is like technology and stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna Skype him. Ooh.
And here's a good one.
Like teleportation.
On October the 23rd, we're having one of the best and one of the well-known opera stars in the world, Barry Banks, is doing a remote podcast. He's coming to the Grotto Halloween Hootenanny, and we're doing remote from the Harrisburg area. And he's a heck of a guest. Let me tell you, this guy's got a sense of humor. He is from Great Britain. You might have some trouble understanding him. He's got a heck of an accent, but other than that, good guy. All right, that's pretty much. Oh, yeah, also, too, first meeting in November, really, the grand Almoner himself, Russell W. Baker, will be our guest. So we're going to get the Almoner fund from the head guy of the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. Should be interesting.
Nice. Do you guys have anything brewing in the next couple weeks? No?
No. I will throw...
Are we allowed to say that? We got to beep that.
No.
I will say one
thing. Talk some language, will you?
We're going to have...
you got to cut
Larry
that
the steamroller.
Oh, jeez. We are going to have a Christmas special. And it will be the, I think, about 10th or 12th. I won't give you the exact
Is that the Perry
date.
Como hour?
And actually, that's going to be very interesting because we're going to do a joint podcast with the good folks in Australia. We're both going to be live and on the air, and it is going to be one raucous event.
Brought to light, Lite.
Yeah, brought to light, exactly.
All right, can I say something?
Yeah.
Jesus. October 12th, for all of our local Grotto members or prospective Grotto members, we have Jack Harley, who's sitting right across from me. He's going to be the guest speaker at Lodge 43's stated meeting. A little recruiting for Grotto. We're going to have pot pie, shocker.
Oh, my God.
For dinner, and refreshments, non-alcoholic, because we're at the Masonic Center, provided by Grotto in the evening. But we got the okay to call off from labor for the actual program, so we can wear our fezzes. So if you're a Grotto member in the area, October 12th, 6:30 for dinner, 7:30 stated meeting, and we're going to do all the oohs and ahs and the fun stuff we do at Grotto. The one-day class is coming up, so... we should probably give them one last shameless plug. So I think it's too late to do Blue Lodge, but if you're interested in Scottish Rite or Shrine, there's still opportunities. Find your local secretary in Pennsylvania. That's statewide.
How come York Rite gets skunked on those one-day classes?
I saw in one of the...
Not that I want it to happen, but just why?
I saw in one of the flyers York Rite mentioned, but it was one lodge as a notice, so I don't know if there's any truth to that. I would reach out to your local York Rite District Deputy Grand Master. Anything for you, Ron? Anything going on?
Nothing for me other than the regular stated meeting.
Toiling in the quarry.
Yes.
There you go.
Nice. Well, take us out of here, Larry.
All right, folks. It's time for Larry's Ramblings. Special thanks to the Four Seasons Golf Club for allowing us to do our first remote podcast. And let me tell you, the scenery here, guys, is beautiful. Also, thanks to the Tall Cedars Forest. What are we, Forest? What, 47, 26?
Shit. No.
I don't have any idea.
27?
It might be 27.
Episode 27? I don't know.
Yeah. For their cooperation in allowing us to totally screw up their meeting. We love these guys. Also to our co-host, Pete Ruggieri, who is noticeably absent again. He's on a cruise somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle.
Or at least he was.
Thanks to our, yeah, that's true. Thanks to our producer and co-host, Jason Lewis.
Glad to be here.
Our special guest, Ron Schwartz.
He was adopted during one of the breaks.
I had an eye tremor at that time. Our special guest, Ron Schwartz. And to Jack Harley, who always manages to come through and helping make this broadcast.
I'm snorting. I'm so sorry.
Talk about deteriorating.
Incidentally, Jack, he volunteered to be our new news director, so you'll be hearing a lot from him. And really, he looked at us, and that was it.
Oh, actually, I do. I have something. One of your brothers, I think, son is being entered, passed, and raised on a 1 day 3 degree thing, and I'm going to get to do a 3rd degree in the Egyptian room at Grand Lodge Hall.
That's right.
So I am stoked for that one.
That's brother Sean Spanago, who owns DNS Cigar Store.
Shameless
free
plug. You owe us now.
Shameless, absolutely. He does listen to this podcast, so shout out to Sean for getting this all set up.
Sounds like a road trip.
Also, good news.
Bus.
Really good news,
Oh, yeah,
guys.
heck yeah.
I know everybody's been following this. We have good news on our field reporters. I'm a Blather and not a Worthy. They were found in Nepal. How they got there, I have no idea, but they're in Nepal safe and sound. And recognition to the new law firm that we've hired, Blast, and Boomer, out of, you guessed it, Washington, D.C.
They're fired.
Okay, guys, this is Larry Maris.
Jason Lewis.
Jack Harley.
Ron Schwartz.
Good night and have a great day. Oh, I wanted to say, let me record that. Thanks.
Leave this all.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, right?
Good night and have a great day. Good Lord.